Welcome to A Happy Donor, where fresh ideas and fundraising meet, clear vision keeps people on a mission, and we believe that happy donors are people who feel like they're making a difference, because they are.
What's going on, all you happy people? I am so pleased to be here today with some good friends on the Happy Donor podcast. We're here with Heather Kersey of Good Samaritan, and of course, my wonderful co-host, Bree Garvin of Qtago.
Hey guys.
Awesome. Today, Good Sam, if y'all aren't familiar with Good Sam, they do an amazing job in the greater Atlanta metro area, loving on people, taking care of a lot of healthcare needs, dental needs, mental health care needs, and many other. I'm sure you're going to be able to help us. You are adding platforms all the time, it seems like.
Yeah, so I'm Heather Kersey. I'm the Chief Development Officer at Good Sam. And like you mentioned, we are a full-service comprehensive medical home for people in need across Metro Atlanta. So the uninsured, the underinsured, the working poor, people experiencing homelessness in our city can come to Good Sam. They can receive medical and dental services, but also mental health counseling, specialist referrals. We bring in the specialists to Good Sam so they can come where they're comfortable and see their orthopedists, they can see their cardiologists, their pulmonologists, women's health, and then we also do health education classes, and we have a full service functional 1 acre urban farm and a farmer's market that helps to sell fresh produce to people in the community. 30318 and 30314 are federally acknowledged food deserts, which means the closest grocery store is more than a mile away from the people who live there. So we are working to address that with healthy fruits and vegetables year round.
And if you haven't checked it out, you have to. It is really the area where you walk in. It is the most beautiful farmer's market feel. Like you just want to go in there and pick and choose. And the ladies who work it are so knowledgeable about everything too. But one of the things that I wanted to touch on is Good Sam has been around for quite a while. Tell us about your founder and how it got started.
Yeah, so Good Sam was founded in 1998 by Dr. Bill Warren. He was a pediatrician in Sandy Springs, longtime member of the Atlanta community, a legacy family here. And he was in private practice watching his very privileged patients have all the access to everything that they needed to take care of their children. And he just felt a stirring in his spirit from the Lord. We're a Christian organization where he knew he could be doing more with the skills and resources that he had. And so he spent some time in inner city Atlanta, very bravely decided to found a pediatrics practice in Midtown down across from the aquarium. He started in one room of a Baptist church and started seeing patients, and then was able to have his own building, and they started to grow from there. And then we moved over to Donald Lee Hollowell Parkway over in Grove Park, English Avenue, Bankhead area almost 10 years ago now to serve that population. Our old center was across the street from the brand new aquarium. And so it didn't make sense for us to stay there when that development was happening. Now we're on a little further on the west side, and we are now full spectrum. Dr. Bill says, and sometimes I try to discourage it, but we serve from womb to tomb. So we do prenatal care all the way through old age. We accept Medicaid, Medicare, patients, private insurance, but we're primarily there for what Dr. Bill would term the working poor.
Well, that kind of goes into what my lead is on womb to tomb. So because Mr. Warren has been in the community for so long and he's a well-known figure, he's got a lot of wonderful people who've been donating to the organization. One of the things that you and I got a chance to talk about was looking at our legacy of, we've got our older donors, our donors that have been with us forever. We want to keep them involved. We want to keep them moving through this change, this process that we're going through, as well as gaining some of the newer donors. If you want to tell us a little bit about how you've been taking on those challenges.
Yeah, generational fundraising is very interesting to me. I've been doing this for about 10 years, and I got my start in Columbus, Georgia, which is very similar demographically to old world Atlanta. A lot of old family foundations, a lot of money from business and then formed foundations, and then who knows who and who's doing what good, and we trust you because you're a family friend, and here's the money, and I think that's done a lot of good in the community. What we see with this new generation, though, we kind of grew up with a global perspective, where the generation of Dr. Warren and his peers was more very city focused, very close to what they have been able to accomplish in the city. My generation, your generation, we've just grown up knowing about the world as a whole and knowing about differences and celebrating those differences and wanting to provide a leg up and uplift. And so what it takes to motivate us to participate is less about, hey, Bree, I thought Good Sam was doing something really great. Do you want to give $100? More about, here's what Good Sam's doing. It's incredible. Join me at this event or watch this video. See how your money is making a huge difference and how would you like to be involved? There's a place for both. It's very important. We could not survive without our legacy donors, without those people who got involved in the early days because they believed in Dr. Bill and the work he was doing. And that is feeding a lot of our planned giving platforms, a lot of our foundations. That group is still very interested in coming together for a gala because they're friends. They love hanging out together. They love breaking bread together. But they're not going to be around forever. And there's an entire new generation that needs to be focused on in just a very different way. And there's a lot of noise to compete with. I call us the GoFundMe generation. We've seen everything from, friends needing help in healthcare crisis, chip in money, to I'm going on my honeymoon, help me get there, chip in money.
Yeah.
These huge establishments needing millions of dollars of budgets kind of goes over our head a little bit. It's not very motivating. And so I think what we are doing and what I'm hoping to do once COVID moves over is to get more into the social fundraising space. Like, can we do a brewery tour across town where it's not even different crowds that come every time, but it's this Good Sam support community that starts to intertwine with one another. We're all passionate about Good Sam. We learn about dental this night. We learn about medical this night. We learn about the farm this night. But, it's so good to see you again. How are you? How's the family? And building kind of a new community around Good Sam from the one that was founded previously. So
I love that.
More to come. We'll see if it works.
I'm like, sign me up for the brewery tour. I'm always
social fundraisers.
Always there for that.
Yeah.
Pub crawls are fun.
That's right. Yeah.
A support community, Bree, I know that, looking over some of our previous interviews and things like that, that really just seems to be a real goal and an agenda that a lot of our friends in the industry are trying to accomplish, so please do keep us posted on more and more, just what that looks like, right?
Yeah.
Happy donor relationships, how you're going to be able to continue fostering those relationships, right? That type of thing.
Yeah.
Do y'all have some, goals as far as, just trying to get the word out to a younger generation of people right now then?
Yeah.
Is that,
Yeah. I think, again, I feel like I'm speaking mostly from and for this generation, but as a development person, I don't want to convince every person I meet to give to Good Sam.
Great.
I feel like that's not honoring to my profession. What I do want to convince our generation is that you need to pick the thing that matters to you. You need to say, this is what I get fired up about. And no matter what's going on in the rest of the world, this is the thing I support. And so I feel like in some ways I'm on kind of an educational tour that's like, hey, in my family, it's foster care, it's housing access, and it's healthcare access. That is what we give to. That is what we go to. That is what we talk about. That is what we write to our legislatures about. Those are our things. When hurricanes happen, when border crises happen, we care about that. We pray for that. We, push it forward in whatever way we can. But our philanthropic priorities are right here, and we don't look left or right from those things. And I think that our generation kind of needs that narrowed focus and starting to say, hey, this is why healthcare access matters. I hope it matters to you. If it doesn't, and food access matters, or the arts matter, let me point you to this organization that I know is well run, that is rocking it out. Give them your support and show up all the time. But pick your thing.
Yeah.
Stop feeling. I feel like that's what the generation ahead of us could teach us about, is not having just support ADD.
Okay. Yeah. All right, girl. You got to slow down.
I'm sorry.
Jeez,
I got a little fired up. I apologize.
I can't write that fast. Okay. But one catchphrase, the narrowed focus that you love. Can you delve into that a little bit further for us?
Yeah. So I think because, again, we are the generation that grew up we watched the O.J. Simpson trial in one area and learned about racial justice and injustice and how that plays out when we were 12 years old. We watched bombings happen. We watched 9/11 happen when we were graduating high school. the economy crashed when we were buying houses and graduating college. We have just lived through so much. And then the Facebook and social media just is an avalanche that we're all trying to, take in. And we all have a value system, whether we claim it or not. And the idea is like, I have to help everyone. I have to, like, they need my help and they need my help and they need my help. And you just end up paralyzed. You just don't do anything. Or you become a social media warrior instead of actually figuring out how you can make a change. And so I think the narrowed focus is, let's have an organizational representation platform that says, here's why I care about healthcare access. Here's why it matters. Here's what happens in the community when they don't have it. Here's what happens to marginalized people when they don't have it. Here's what happens to your tax dollars when they don't have it. It matters. And then the next person comes up. Here's why this matters. And then at the end, like, could you just pick something? Like, when you leave here, pick up a banner and say, this is what I'm going to march for till the end of time. And hold yourself to that. I think there's a lot of compassion fatigue that happens because everything's so hard and difficult. But just acknowledging that is not enough. We have the ability to make a difference. And, you don't have to have hundreds of thousands of dollars to give away every year. A $25 a month donation sustains an organization. And so I could go on and on about that for a long time, but just narrowing your interest. There's nothing wrong with saying, these are the things that matter for me. And you have all of my philosophical support in these other things.
Preach, girl.
I know. That's something that we hear it. We've heard it before, is like, not every donated dollar is a good dollar.
Right.
And just by you saying the Facebook, I think every day I could get on Facebook and somewhere in that list, somebody is either the GoFundMe or support this.
Yeah.
So being able to narrow on that with your audience, I think, is probably what Dr. Bill started with.
Yeah.
He knew what he was passionate about, where he was, and bringing in his community. So you guys doing that the same for this new generation, you're building, another little set of legacies.
That's right. Yeah.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm. And I think the difference again is the generation before us believed in Dr. Bill.
Mm-hmm.
They believed in who he was, who his family is, who, his skill set being medicine was like, that's fine, but he's a good man. He loves the Lord. He's going to make a difference. He has all my support. I don't think that exists in our generation. I don't think anyone has that level of trust and honor and belief in any one person anymore.
Yeah.
And so now it needs to be the issues. That's like, you know what? I believe in healthcare access, and I believe that you know more than me. So here's some money to figure it out. Keep me posted on how it's going.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like a little education there.
It's the issues.
Yes.
Wow, that's solid. Well, Heather, thank you so much for coming out with us
Thanks
today.
for having me.
Good Sam knows how to create and sustain happy donors. And please do. You're just such a wealth of knowledge. This is, again, my hair is blown back.
And keep us up to date on those upcoming
those brewery tours.
As well.
You guys can visit us at goodSamAtlanta.org. My contact information is on the team's page. If I can be of help in educating, providing continuing education and development for your staff as another fellow nonprofit, or if you want to give or get involved at Good Sam, hit me up.
Thanks, Heather.
Thank y'all so much for tuning in with us today. Take care.